don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Was there any point where you thought, like, how do I go on?
I remember one particular time when these episodes kept happening. And I got on the bus, and my husband, we were in London, and my husband said, go out a bit. He said, just so get away. And I got on the bus. I didn't know where I was going. And I was saying to myself, I'm not going to go back. I'm just going to stay on this bus. Don't care where it takes me. For that, like, 30 seconds, and it had never happened to me before, that I wanted to run away. I had never felt that, but I was so tired of in and out of hospital, no answers, nothing that we could do. I didn't know what was happening. I said, I'm not going to go back. I'm just going to stay on this bus. I don't care where it takes me. I'm just going to stay. And then, no, obviously I didn't, but it crossed my mind.
It crossed your mind? And how far did that bus go?
I don't know. And then in fact, I got off and I was like, I didn't know where the hell I was. And then I was like, oh yeah. So I get into these, like, when it's very, like, heavy, it's hard to explain, but it's like that saying, it's id-dinya. But I just feel like I'm in this bubble, and I feel like I don't know, like, come at me, hit me. I'm not going to feel it. It sounds like a bit weird. I don't know, or I'm not being like...
But, well, you've been to a very, not weird place, but a place that is not common. So you obviously feel kind of weird, like not normal things, because your story is not a regular one, So obviously, what you're processing is not normal.
No.
Right.
So I, even when he's in the hospital, I go out and it's like I feel like a zombie.
Yeah.
And I feel like floating, but like, tipo, if a car would hit me, I probably just, like, I feel nothing. And that has really changed me. Even that has changed me, because I feel like I've become devoid of certain emotions, like, sometimes there was a time, for example, he pointed out to me, he said, you're very cold, mommy, you don't cry. And that really struck me really hard, because I was always a very overly emotional person. But then there were so many years
How do you view this development as a...
I hate it.
Oh, you hate it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's not me. I'm very warm. I'm very loving. I'm very, very emotional. I consider myself a very emotional person, but I cannot cry anymore. It's hard. Like, sometimes now in this admission, when Henry was in the hospital, I was not forcing myself, but I was letting it. I was saying, okay, cry. Mom, but it backfired, because then he would be upset, and then he would start to cry. He'd see me crying, going, I'm going to be okay, mommy. Don't cry. I'm going to be okay. And I'd be like, la, man, I can't just fucking get this right, man, because now he's seeing me cry. Yeah. So if I cry, it's wrong. If I don't cry, it's wrong.
From an outsider's perspective, what that appears to be is that there is such a deep connection between you two, that there is this counterbalance, like you're a countervailing force to one another. So anytime you're drifting too far off, he'll play anchor, and anytime, but obviously you're the adult, you're the mother, so most of the time you're going to have to play anchor. It's obviously very, we all like to feel the emotions, and we all like to feel love and warmth, especially if we're used to feeling those emotions.
And I didn't want to show him. And then I said, does he feel like it's not good to cry because I'm not crying? Does he feel like he shouldn't cry? I don't want him not to cry. And then, I mean, this time he did struggle with crying, because in fact I would tell him he would like want to cry, and he'd be like, but I can't. And I'm like, okay, just try. No, but then it was like, he sees me crying, he stops crying. And that took strength as well from him, because I knew, like, this time, this admission just... I mean, every time, for example, so when he was sick, we went in and they said, we have to do an NG tube. And I'm like, my heart sank. The NG tube is the nasogastric tube that goes in through his nose, the back of his throat, and into his stomach. And when I told him, I was like, okay, it's not nice. And when I tell him that, already he puts up his armor. It's okay, mommy. And I'll be like, you have to get an NG tube. And he'll cringe. And I'll be like, it's okay.
Mela, tlaqna?